All right, and welcome everybody to the podcast, Your Healthy Self. I am your host of the day, Kate Archibald. So excited to be with you this beautiful Thursday morning, and hope everyone is having a great day out there. So we are live on the webinar. We are recording on the podcast, and last night we had our Health Accelerator community meeting, or our hack, that if you are not registered for our Health Accelerator community weekly events, it is Wednesdays at 4:30 Mountain Time. If you're not on that, get set up. That's acueastwest.com/hack. That's HAC. You got to get on that. So we talked about some really cool stuff on mindset and gratitude, and just love that. I think one of the concepts is really talking about happiness. We went over some different studies on. There was a study for nuns that they took a look at their journal entries, and the nuns with the happiest or the most positive and gratitude driven journal entries, they outlived the nuns with less numbers, and I don't know exactly what the threshold was, but by 10 years. So having more gratitude and happiness in your life will add some years to the life, and obviously it's a lot more productive and a lot more fun to live in a state of happiness rather than anger or victimhood or whatever those negative mindsets can bring you. So my challenge to you, oh, Judy, I did not get a haircut. I just got it in a man bun today, but thanks for noticing. So today we're going to be diving into Reagan's book is just about to launch. I think we're going to be launching this in the end of the month, so we're like a couple days away, and so we're gonna he'll be joining me in just a moment. He had a little extra traffic commute, and so he'll be here momentarily, and we're gonna be diving into his book. But before we go into that, want to talk to you about our show sponsor is thesmartmedicine.com. So go to thesmartmedicine.com for all of your supplement needs. We have there's 5 different particular formulas there. Some amazing things with stem boost and immune function and protein. It's mushroom-based protein. Super, one of my favorite formulas for. I love to add it into my coffee. It just adds some nice flavor. As well as it's a great protein, as well as Intergenius. That's one of my favorite nootropics. Take it daily, and then Energy Multiplier. That would be the other one for blood sugar regulation. If you notice yourself crashing midday or in between meals, or if you have to skip a meal, that formula will help stabilize your blood sugar levels throughout the day, so you're not having these huge hunger spikes and your blood sugar is not crashing. So it's a good stabilizer, as well as it can lower your blood sugar if you're eating some really sugary goodness. So take a look at those, and I think you'll appreciate that. So while we're here, and before we jump into Reagan's new book, I'm super excited about this. It's going to follow some of the challenges that we've been doing over the last year with everyone, and this book, I am just really excited for this to launch and get out there to the public. It's been a huge work in progress. Regan and Ann Marked co-authored it along with Regan, and if you remember Ann, she's an incredible individual that worked with us. So let's see. So, but before we dive in there, it sounds like Reagan's going to be hopping on here in just a second. but wanted to touch base on the hack last night. Who was on the Health Accelerator course that's on here live right now? Just curious. I think. Oh, awesome. So Bev, you were on. So type in the chat box what your favorite study was there. I was super intrigued, and I had a date night with it was a birthday for my mom and my sister. We went to a cooking class. It's over at Riverwood Mills down here in St. George. They call it Gather, is kind of the little event space there. But they have a gorgeous kitchen, and they have a chef that she's gone through culinary school. She was on Cooking Illustrated's team. She like downplayed it. She's like, "Oh, I was just a test cook. It was nothing. I was like a little peon." And I was like, "Well, I think that's pretty cool." So yeah, we got to go through a cooking class. So that was it was really cool. Nice. So Bev's favorite study last night, Reagan. We're going over last night's hack.
Cool.
Her favorite study was mind hunger, so controlling it. So is that the milkshake study? So they took. So for those of you that weren't on the hack, I'll explain what the study was. But they took they had a certain number of calories in this milkshake. I think it was 380, something around there. But then they told each individual in this study that it was you're getting an indulgent shake, which was like 600 calories, versus someone that was getting a sensible shake. I wanted to say smart, but I knew it wasn't smart. Sensible shake. It was like, I think it said 150 calories, something like that. And so people's minds were telling them like, this is what I'm taking. And then they measured the ghrelin that was that's your hunger hormone. So the way I like to think of it is gremlin. So like the little gremlin in your belly that's like, oh, I'm hungry. That's what ghrelin is a hormone. So you guys are all going to remember what ghrelin is from now on. That's the gremlin in the belly.
Good way of looking at it.
So their ghrelin levels on the people that took the heartier shake, their ghrelin levels were decreased versus the people that had the sensible shake, but they had the exact same calories. So pretty intriguing and amazing. What I take that as, and this is the theory behind it. I don't know exactly what the psychology behind it is, but if I'm taking a big hearty fattening shake or a high calorie shake, I'm telling my body like, oh, this is gonna fill me up. This is way too much food. I probably shouldn't be eating this, but I am anyways. And then my hunger hunger hormones drop. Versus if I have a lean shake, I'm like, oh, I could probably eat some more. I'm still feeling hungry, and it's crazy because that actually impacts your hormones. Wild. I love that study. That's a really good one, Bev. All right, well, Reagan, we got you here. You made it through traffic, so thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I know we talked about diving into your book. We're going to be launching this the end of the month. We're going to send it out into the world.
Yeah, we've got just a few more details to handle, but I wanted to cover just some of the highlights and just really thank everybody in this community for all the help, because this book, out of all the books, and I'm going to share this screen. This is our digital file. I just sent it to you, Kate. I was just finishing up with the publisher this morning, literally. So got out a little bit late. But this is you guys are seeing it first. So Never Stop Healing. And the reason I called this book Never Stop Healing is because so many of us, we think that healing or health is this destination, and we're just like, we just keep measuring ourselves. And we've been talking about the gap and the gain. Dan Sullivan's new book came out at the perfect time, because these two concepts are, they're hand in hand. If you just always have the mentality, hey, never stop healing, that means that even if today you're not feeling as good as you did yesterday, it doesn't mean that things have just, everything fell apart and your life is no longer worth living and it's time to throw in the towel because you're never going to have better energy, or you're never going to get answers to the whatever health condition that you've got. But never stop healing means that there's no destination. It's all make it part of this journey and this curiosity and fascination, because that's the goal. Is if you can access the internal wisdom of your body never has to stop healing. And so the subtitle's The Unknown Shortcuts with Peptides for an Extraordinary Life, because in each chapter we give lifestyle, we give all these cool tips that you guys helped us create over the last year and a half. Kate, I guess it's been a year and a half since we started the hacks, right?
Yeah, I think it was around like yeah, it was early to mid 2020 is when we started this. Yeah, it was like April. So yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly eight
It,
18 months.
yeah, it was like the holiday season in 2020. We said, hey, we need to put hacks together. We kind of created some ideas around it, and then we did launch it. And really want to thank you guys for being part of that, because it helped us really kind of wade through some of the concepts and ideas and see what works, see what doesn't work. And man, it's been exciting. So never stop healing. One of the healing keys, and someone said last night, I just looked in the chat box, Judy, oh, it's Judy. Hey, Judy. Judy says the nun study was her favorite. So I think that's all part of never stop healing, is don't get stuck in the gap and just get down this pathway where you have negative thoughts about your health and your life, but always just think in the positive. And even the nuns Judy's referencing is in 1917, researchers they wanted to predict lifespan based on levels of happiness. And so they asked these group of nuns, there's 180 nuns out of the school of Notre Dame. I can't remember, School of Nuns of Notre Dame, something like that. And they monitored the journal entries of these nuns for 50 years. And they found that the nuns who had positive emotions that they would express in their journal entry, these were obviously nuns that had just like kind of a greater affinity towards gratitude and a better practice of it. They built their gratitude muscle up. These nuns actually lived on average 10 years longer. In fact, a lot of these nuns are still alive today. So there's some centenarians in that group just by putting down that positive emotion. And so that's the challenge for this week. Did you already tell everyone what the challenge was last night?
No, no, I didn't get to that.
So this morning I had to set a timer for 2 minutes. It's been a busy morning. We had to decide on the colors, like, do we want to print it black and white or in color? Color, Cade, would have cost $44. So unfortunately, some of the graphics won't be colored, but on the ebook, it's all going to be colored. So, then we can get
the cover is colored, right?
Oh yeah, the cover is always colored. Yeah, so that will be fine.
I was like, a black and white cover, like that's an option, because that might look a little
No, but the inside of the book, then we could get it down to like $16 or $17, somewhere in there is what we can. So then it becomes more realistic. But anyway, the never stop healing, the hack challenge was 2 minutes, or just write down in your gratitude journal. So spend 2-3 minutes just writing down what you're grateful for. Pull out that positive focus journal. Think of some positivity, because I can tell you when you're positive, you get good ideas, you get creative ideas. I was calling Kate on the way down. I'm like, hey, I got a couple great ideas of how we could serve our patients in a new way that I think would improve everyone's life. And he's like, that's great, but I spent 2 minutes this morning. I had to set a timer because my time was pretty crunched, but I said, all right, 2 minutes and I'm going to do my gratitude, and it was the best thing I did, because then I had new ideas that popped into my brain. So anyway, so that's part of never stop healing. So should we jump into the book, Kate? Should we open up the kimono?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so Anne Marks, you guys all remember Anne, just such a great collaborative partner. She literally wrote the book. She just would transcribe it. I wrote a few of the chapters initially, and then I said, man, I keep stalling out, Anne. I don't have, because I wasn't traveling internationally, which is when I used to write, was on the airplane. I'd have 8 hours of silence, and I could literally plug out about 3 chapters. But this time, Anne, she was able to take the transcriptions and just make sense of everything. And she did a phenomenal job. So, so my hat's off to Anne. So here's the chapter. So chapter 1 is called The False Sense of Security. This gives you a little bit of urgency. And I think, Kate, we'll just kind of talk about the mindsets, because it all starts with mindsets. That's what we learned last night in our hack, is if you want to live long, have positive emotions, be happy, be grateful, you'll live 10 years longer. If you want to clean your house and look at that as exercise, you're going to have a better outcome than if your brain didn't think of it as exercise and just thought of it as cleaning. And there's studies to show that. Even the milkshake one, if you think you're eating something indulgent, even if it's not, you're going to have lower levels of ghrelin and won't be as hungry. So every time you eat, just really appreciate the indulgence of that food. So there's cool little hacks, but chapter 1 is all about just getting your mindset to the place where you've got to start really moving forward when it comes to your health. You can't wait. And so that's going to be an awesome one. So, and we can't wait, sometimes even if you have an idea, like I like to do GoDaddy and figure out cool domains. And I think it's good to pick it up right now, Kate. Chapter 2, vagal tone. So, how to get your body to relax. And we'll chat. We'll talk.
Oh, nice. You got a quote from Bev in chapter 1. There's 7 days in a week and some days not one of them.
There you go, Bev. See, that's chapter 1. I love that. Someday that's not one of the 7 days.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Bev. Chapter 2, vagal tone. Chapter 3 is breathing. Chapter 4, sugar. Chapter 5, movement. Chapter 6, sleep. Chapter 7, water. Chapter 8, cold. Remember, these are the hacks that we went through in that 100-day challenge. And Bev and I ended up putting on muscle mass during that challenge. I ended up putting on just over 15 pounds of muscle. Bev, I think you put on 2 or 3 pounds, maybe up to 4 at one point. So this is all those challenges. And then we had patients. I mean, some of our members, they lost, 20, 30. We had one member lose 50 pounds in this challenge. And his hemoglobin A1C dropped 4%. So 4% is amazing. He went from 11 down to 7. So that was huge. And his hemoglobin A1C has dropped even more since then. So anyway, there's great things. So chapter 9 is timed eating. Chapter 10 is love your liver. Chapter 11, optimize your gut. Chapter 12, veggies. Chapter 13 is how to get the right proteins in. And this is a question I get all the time. Well, how much is enough? And this is where we actually do reverse dieting, because we tell you to load on the protein for a short period of time and really start building some muscle, because that's what's going to help you sustain your weight loss and fat burning. And then chapter 14 is all getting the right fats in. So you can burn on 2 sources of fuel, either fat or protein. And then we included a couple bonus chapters for everyone. We have barely known secrets of peptides to expand your health. And this just shows you a little glimpse into the future of medicine where peptides can just go in and turn on those genetic pathways so that your body can heal on its own. You don't have to depend on an herb being properly processed and digested and from the right source or anything else. The peptides just are amino acid chains that are suspended in, some saline solution. So they're very safe and very effective. And so we talk about some of the key ones. I pull out a peptide in each one of these chapters, even give you some of the top, herbs and supplements that you can use to expand what you're doing in your health. And then chapter 16 is, are you wasting your precious time? Just like Bev said, there are 7 days in the week and some day is not one of those. So chapter 17 is just another reminder, because I can tell you that the patients that I've felt the most heartbreak around are the ones that come when it's too late. They've got the stage 5 kidney failure, they've got the cancer, their pancreas is completely destroyed. I had a patient yesterday who, unfortunately her liver was completely just fibrotic, and the cirrhosis has just kicked in. So this is why we have these kind of reminders in the beginning and end, because you can be on the journey. Some of us, we just need a little help. We're walking in the mud and we're thinking our health is so crappy and life could be so much better. We don't realize there's a sidewalk right next to us, as David Goggins says. So just get on that sidewalk. And he'd say, "Dadgum sidewalk," and just start walking on that dadgum thing. Then he'd use a couple explicitives in between there. And, but yeah, just walk on the sidewalk. And that's the reminder of the book. So, Kate, what are your thoughts on those chapters?
Love it. I think, I love the concept. And I think, might need to add in Bev's quote in there. That is amazing. There's 7 days in a week. Some day is not one of them. Your health can't wait until tomorrow. So, yeah, I just want to. I'll ask you a couple questions. But what was like the big inspiration on this book in your mind? Because I know we started the hacks, but I'm just to give everyone a little bit insight into Regan's genius. Want to kind of vet them.
Well, I looked at this and I'm big into, I like the Dan Sullivan quote that everyone is 100% disciplined to their existing set of habits. And so I realized that with the hacks, there's simple ways of getting people to change the way they think about things first. And then by changing the way you think about things, then you start changing the way you do things. And then to reinforce it, you've got a community that's there, we're all working together in these new behaviors. And that's where the hack community came from. And as I went through that first 100-day challenge, I said, man, this content is so good and so powerful that any single person out there, if you just followed these 100 days, your health will improve 1% every day for 100 days. And there's no way that it won't. So I looked at this and I said, I got to get a book so that more people can have access to this. Not everyone's going to get on our Kajabi site and, watch all the reruns, and not everybody's going to, listen to all our podcasts. And our podcasts, I'm going to go through, and eventually we'll have our audio version of the book for some of our members have already been asking about that. But so we'll get that there. But the real inspiration, Kate, just came from me wanting more people to really transform their health, but to have a workable tactical way of doing that. Because my other books do have some tactics in them, but not everything that's a complete transformation. So this is like an A to Z transformation that people can just dive into, and they will be shocked at how much better they feel just by following these simple steps.
I love that. Yeah, and it really does walk through from A to Z how someone could make some significant health transformations from whatever the topic is. There's some amazing chapters in here. So this first chapter, a lot of it's on mindset. So mindset number one. So I see let's just jump into kind of what's the mindset need to be, or what's that mean?
Yeah. And so I think that's a great question, because what we can do, we'll go through the mindsets and then I'll share people what's in the chapter. So for those of you who are like, I'm never going to read this book, I want the overview. This podcast will be the overview. So I'll do mindset, and then we'll jump into the challenge and kind of the habit and behavior. But mindset number one is my health and my life multiply when I invest in myself. So really and that's the Naval quote that I shared last night, which is, not my happiness, not my family, my career, my relationships, my wealth come before my health. And so Naval, even his happiness, his health comes before focusing on his happiness. And so I think that's really critical, because if you have the right habits and the right behaviors, you'll see that your life force and your appreciation for life will multiply. But you've got to invest first in your health. You have to say, okay, I'm willing to do what it takes. I don't mind pulling up syringes and injecting myself with with interesting peptides. I don't mind taking supplements if that's part of my program. I don't mind eating weird food if it's going to help me feel better, like liver or heart or kidney. These things are all part of the path. And I don't even mind eating the vegetables. There's just so many things that you can do. Exercising every day. It's much easier just to do it every day. So this is the mindset. And as we went through there, you'll hear about how many people think that they're healthy. But actually, there's a study that showed only 3 of us are actually meeting the basic levels of a healthy lifestyle, according to this study. So a lot of us, we really need to up our game, and we cannot. I mean, we're in the midst of a health crisis, midst of a pandemic, so we can't slow down. We've got to move forward, and we actually have to take our health more seriously. Even if you think you're doing everything right, this is going to be key. So yeah, here's some feedback that we've gotten on our challenge, the 100-day process. Thank you. I love this class. Drinking a lot more water, lost 15 pounds. I am making better food choices and lowered my fasting glucose level by 80 points. Increased my energy, lost 40 pounds over the last year, sleeping through the night. Isn't that awesome? Got my sugar under control, lost 15 pounds, fasting in the evening, and lost 5 pounds going to bed earlier. So these are just some small things. Here's another one. This is the patient I was referencing earlier, lost 50 pounds, changed life significantly, eating lifestyle. I'm so grateful for this program. I tried so many different ones with not much change over time. So that number one, the thing that you've got to have, there's some mindsets as you jump into these challenges and into this book. And mindset number one is you've got to look at investing in your health. And so that's it.
Love that. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to go through each of the chapters and kind of we can discuss each of the mindsets.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we got chapter 1 is the false sense of security. So chapter 2 is stress. So vagal tone your way to relaxation. So what's the mindset that someone needs to have when they're jumping into this this particular area of life?
Well, and if you think about vagal tone is when your heart and your brain and your intestines, your whole parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous response are in congruence. And so if you have really strong vagal tone, you're going to have good digestive functions. When it's time to go, you're going to have a lot of power in the engine. So when you need to sprint, you can sprint. When you need to relax, you can relax. And so this is it, because stress, if you just keep piling on more and more stress, no matter what you're doing, it's going to just start ruling out all the positive things you're doing for your health. So the biggest thing in this chapter is an attitude of gratitude can change my entire body. And there's evidence to support that, right, kid? It's not like...
Yeah. Well, and we learned that evidence last night is, having like your mind. It's so cool how powerful the mind is. Like, and Regan just recently shared some of those studies that we went over yesterday in the hack earlier on a team meeting we had with our clinic teams yesterday morning in our meeting. And it was like I felt like those were like some of the most impactful things from my understanding of mindset, because we all get told, and we know that our mindset is important, but you never really it's not really an objective thing that we can say, there's science behind this. It's just kind of like, get your mind right so you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time, or some of these studies are just fantastic on mindset. So if we can have the right gratitude base towards things and looking at it the right way, it's amazing what your physiology can do, not alone. And that's taking out of our mind drives our behavior, but it also can drive our physiology.
Yeah. And so that's where we gave people the challenge. Your very first challenge is do something kind for someone. And, the interesting thing about that is even in the act, they've measured serotonin levels and oxytocin in these studies where they've actually had somebody do something kind for somebody. And you'll see that the oxytocin levels and serotonin improve and increase in both parties, the giver and the receiver. But even if you are a third party just watching the interaction, you get the same response. And so the cool thing about that is when you do something kind for somebody, and even if, we're obviously doing something kind so that other people see you is not really your intention's in the wrong place. You're not going to get the same
ego involved there.
Yeah, but doing it for the right reasons. And if someone happens to see that or hear about it, I mean, so many of us, there's so many cool stories out there that the media misses because they're so focused on the negative. But man, if we just shared positive stories all the time and we did positive things for other people, that sense of connection would literally start changing our health. So that's challenge number one. I'm sure everyone's like, well, this is soft, Regan. What? I thought you're going to tell me to do 100 push-ups or something, but it's like, well, no, let's start by getting rid of that stress response in your body. Believe it or not, the more stressed you are, you're usually thinking about yourself. And so one way that to easily multiply what you're doing is just go and just be present with somebody. And it's kind of funny how all of a sudden your stress just drops. So some things that we included here, call a friend, instead of texting, give them a call, see, have some jokes. My kids love my dad jokes. Actually, they don't, but they laugh because they have to. But just do some things that are fun. And then one of the peptides that we have for this one is Selenk. And Selenk is just a powerful peptide, especially if you had the food addictions, or if you're somebody who is, trying to get off benzodiazepines, you've had some pretty severe anxiety. Selenk is a really good peptide to start. So we share some studies here. So yeah, kind of interesting, huh? So that's chapter 1.
Love that. Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, I mean, that's challenge number 1, but yeah, chapter 2.
All right. So chapter 3 is breathing. So the weight loss key you've always had. I like that tagline. So elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, this is and she's the one that wrote that headline, I believe. I don't know if I said it or she wrote it, but so I don't want to take credit for anything that's not mine in this. But
all right. I like that. Just saying, hey, you've always been breathing. It's always been there. But if you use breath the right way, you can accelerate some weight loss. Sounds like.
Yeah, and the way I've always talked about breathing is what Dr. Maikawa, my teacher, taught to me, which is breathing is always there. It's free. Like the one thing that people, they look beyond is the fact that you can get a lot of healing just through your breath. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated. And so that's one of the most beautiful things that we've learned. And so mindset number 3 is I can breathe my way to my best health. And so this is a critical thing because this is where we talk about the Wim Hof breathing. And there's so many different breathing techniques we can do, but I reference James Nestor, his book, Breathing. If you have not read it, you want to read that. Because as you realize, like, okay, number 1 is stress. So in order to get rid of stress, it's hard to be stressed out and grateful at the same time. So we say we gotta fight that thing. But then in order to transform your stress into positive energy that your body can now utilize, that's where you access the breath. And so this is where you see kids having a tantrum. Not that my kids ever did or that your kids ever do, Kate. But I know other people have that problem because they're not good parents like we are, right?
They're not perfect.
They're not perfect. Yeah, but okay, so we all have tantrums. I don't care how, there's no way of getting around that. But if you tell your kid, hey, why don't we take some quick breaths? You think about what we do. Or you think about in a sporting event, when you just lose it, you're just like, man, this team is frustrating me. I can't get my game on. Okay, why don't you just sit on the bench and take a few deep breaths? I had a coach that would really help me he would always tell me, you are a tiger. but you got to just get the breathing right. And so it was super helpful. And so just breathing is a big thing. And so we train you on the Wim Hof breathing. We have some of these breathing techniques to get your parasympathetic tone up. And then it's a really cool journey into breathing and sleep, and how sleep helps your brain detox. And then we give you the challenge, which is, believe it or not, it's breathing. So diaphragmatic breath work, 2.5 to 5 minutes. You can lay on your back and you prop up your legs on a pillow. So put a pillow under your knees. It feels really good. Put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. And then you're inhaling and you're forcing the breath in through your whole body. So you want to fill up your stomach first and then your chest. And then it goes in reverse as you exhale. And so it's a really powerful way. So if you do this for 3 rounds, it ends up being about 10 minutes if you're doing the true Wim Hof breath work. And that is one of the most powerful things you can do. So Kate, what are your experiences with Wim Hof breathing?
That is, if you're like looking for the tingles and just like want to get really like a ton of circulation through your body and get a really clear mind, like it is so fantastic. Maybe don't do it while you're driving.
Yep.
I remember the first time Reagan introduced me to Wim Hof. I was driving to
Cedar City to pick me up.
City,
Yeah.
to pick him up at the airport because he couldn't get a flight to St. George. So I was picking him up in Cedar City, and I'm doing this breath work, and like my vision's kind of getting a little blurry as I'm driving there, and I'm like just on cloud nine. I pick him up right as I wrapped up the breathing exercise, and I was like, "Oh, that was awesome!" Except probably shouldn't have been doing it while I was driving.
Yes, I remember that day. Yeah, then we did it together. It's powerful. And it's just seeing how long you can hold your breath after that is key. But one of the peptides, breathing is the portal to your immunity. And Chinese medicine is called the Wei Qi, and that's comes from the lungs and the inspiration and expiration that you give. And so every time you breathe, you're stimulating your thymus gland. And our thymus gland shrinks as we age. And so in the peptide section, I just talk about thymosin beta 1, APB7, thymosin beta 4, all that work on the thymus glands. So that's the breathing chapter. So now we're going to get into a little more of the diet, because everyone's like, well, man, never stop healing. Well, to never stop healing, you got to get your stress under control. You got to keep it under control. Get it under control by doing nice things. Be a kind person. Do more of that, and then keep it under control through your breathing. And then that's where you start transforming stress into healing. And then chapter 4 is like, okay, now you got to remove the things that are going to really start poisoning your body. And no better place to start in the removal process than our best friend, sugar.
Sugar. It's a beautiful word. It's a 5-letter word. So if you do nothing else, do this one thing. So what's the mindset for chapter 4?
So chapter 4, I make informed choices about everything I consume. I put my future health first rather than momentary satisfaction, because sugar is momentary satisfaction, right? So you got to realize, like, okay, so man, remember when we were at Gibson's in Chicago, Gibson's Steakhouse. Kate and I got this beautiful grass-fed steak, and it was amazing. Had some salad with it, great meal. And then at the end, the dessert option rolls around, and Reagan, who loves desserts, I was like, okay, we should go for that. Then I was like, maybe not. And then we went to our friend's table upstairs, and they brought out the dessert, and it was game over, right? I was like, I'm going to eat that. That looks so amazing. And carrot cake was incredible. Like the cream cheese on it was perfect, and the chocolate mousse cake, but the cake was huge. One dessert was like a full birthday cake. It was ridiculous. Imagine if we would have eaten that, like a single serving of what they were giving at that restaurant as dessert. Diabetic coma.
Like literally, like it's like probably about 12 inches buy like it's just a gigantic like Chicago style pizza, but in a form of a cake that's like 12 inches thick.
Yeah, it's
Wild.
crazy.
Yeah, that was full of sugar. No,
I did get momentary satisfaction out of that. Just so you guys know, sometimes if you eat a dessert, it's great. We walked 3 miles after that back to the hotel. I was like, hey, we're not doing a cab, we're walking because now
yeah,
we got all the sugar.
yeah, gotta walk after that one and move. Um, and this mindset, I really like this. It kind of reminds me of what's the book? Willpower.
Willpower doesn't work.
Yeah, willpower doesn't work.
Yeah, Benjamin Hardy.
Like
Yeah,
you make the decision before it's placed in front of you.
yeah, yeah. Yep. Ben was in my group, my strategic coach group earlier this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, good dude, but man, that willpower doesn't work. It's true. So realize, like, yes, remove sugar, but we realize we're all humans, and occasionally we're going to eat some sugar. So when you eat it, just use that milkshake study. Use that concept. I just thought to myself, like, wow, I'm in Chicago. I don't get to do this very often. I don't even see cakes that big in Europe, like where I love the desserts there. Like this is epic. We're going for it. Yeah. So this one is you can imagine the challenge, and yeah, we give you some compelling reasons, but sugar. What's even worse than sugar? We're finding is like Splenda with the neural inflammation. I talk about artificial sweeteners, what they do to the brain and the body, the mood swings that comes with them, the diet sodas. We have one of our members who I call myself a Diet Coke interventionist. So I intervene with patients with my patients who are on Diet Coke, and that's a killer. That's worse than that big carrot cake that we ate, because what that does is it disrupts your gut biome, and then you have a serotonin depletion until you drink the Diet Coke, and then you get that rush of serotonin. So we give you all the names for sugar. So in case you're wondering, you're going to have this life manual right in your pocket. Okay, watch out for maple syrup because that can be really good, but it may not be the best if you're eating too much of that. So we have everything listed. Obviously, the corn syrup, caramel can be a big issue, sucrose, golden sugar. There's so many names, and so we list those all out. And then we give you the nice thing about this book, Kate, is of all the books I've ever read, I don't think there's another book that's going to have the resources to this one as far as like, okay, where do I go if I want to see what, kind of toxins are in certain foods? Well, go to this website and here's some resources. So we've included everything you need to really make an informed decision of what to get out of your body and out of your kitchen. And so the challenge on this one, no junk food, no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, or foods with added chemicals in the ingredients list. That's the challenge.
Love it.
And the peptides. Yeah, the IGF-1, CJC, 1295 ipamorelin. When your IGF-1 is working, you don't crave sugar, you're not hungry. Your body, your liver's just flowing. So that's the peptide. It's a favorite. And then energy multiplier. Kate, you've taken this one. This is part of our medicine here, the smartmedicine.com.
Right there. Boom.
Boom, right there. So yeah, I took mine this morning.
A couple hours.
Yep, it's great. So that's sugar. So if you guys ever want to deep dive into sugar, so far we've talked about, breathing, we went into sugar, and now we go into, and we talked about stress and gratitude, but now we go into movement.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about our experience this last weekend in Chicago with the cake is we did partake in some sugar, and I think having some gratitude around that and just appreciating it. You don't guilt yourself or shame yourself when you do indulge. Just don't do it too often because that's when it can get really, really bad. But then make sure you're having movement right after it, right? Before we jump into this chapter, had a few comments here. Ruth asked when and where will the book be available. Looks like a great gift.
Oh, nice.
So this is launching Halloween Day, so October 31st, right, Reagan? Is it going
That
to be ready?
if I need to get you involved with Kim so we can get it's called a KDP or something with Amazon. I don't get it all, but we'll have an Amazon link hopefully by Halloween. And then we'll get this out. You guys watch your inbox. If you're not on our email list, just plug in your email in the chat box and we'll get you on our email list. But we're going to have a very big announcement for this coming up. And now that you guys have seen kind of an inside look at the book, and like Ruth said, it could be a great gift, but how many of you would love to give this as a gift this holiday season? Because if you would, then I'll make sure we have a bunch at the clinic. And then you can also obviously order it on Amazon, which is really easy. And then Amazon will send it right to the house. So
yeah, Amazon's pretty sharp that way where they'll if you want to send a gift, you can actually send it to wherever you want it to go with a nice little note attached to it. Looks like you're going to be autographing some books as well, Reagan. You got some requests there.
Happy to do that. Yeah.
And then and also Ruth said loved James Nestor's book. Been mouth taping for a year. Dry mouth is gone.
Yep. That's the best thing. I love taping my mouth. My wife got me some really cool things. I got all these crazy contraptions. So I'll have to send you guys pictures of some mouth taping at night.
All right, well, we're gonna run out of time, so let's jump into chapter 5 here. Movement, your miracle cure. So what's the mindset for chapter 5?
This is think about moving your body as daily as a gift. So moving your body daily is a gift that appreciates the more you use it. So if you think about something that appreciates, it increases in value. And it's like your body. The more you move it, the more you appreciate it. The less you move it, the more you're frustrated by it. So couch potatoes and people who work at desks, they're not conscious about moving their body. They're the ones that come to me and they're the most frustrated. I'm like, well, what do you expect? It's like neglecting a dog. And you're like, why is my dog so ill-behaved? And he barks at other dogs and he bites people. It's like, yeah, because you have him chained up outside all day. He's going to be grumpy. Just like your body. So movement's a really key one because we go through and we talk about all these studies that are very compelling on why exercise is good for you. In fact, you're going to lower your risk of colon cancer by 60%, lower your risk of early death by 40%, reduce depression. I mean, if there is one thing we could bottle up and put in a pill, it's exercise. I don't think there's anything on the planet that makes you feel as good as a good workout. I mean, powerful, right, kid?
Yeah. I just last night, toddler came in at 3:30 a.m. Could not get back to sleep. Like it was just rough from like 3:30 to about 4:30. Finally fell asleep, and then I woke. She like nuzzled her head right in the back of my. Like the middle of my back, so like on the edge of the bed, she's like laying perpendicular, and I looked at my clock and it was like 5, and I was like, I'm gonna go hit just a nice workout, so I don't feel like garbage the whole day, and I feel amazing, and it was not a beautiful sleep scenario last night, so I need to work on this one, but the workout like completely like it rejuvenated me from it was good. I'm glad I did it because otherwise I'd just be dead right now. I probably would not be talking very much.
Yeah, the exercise wakes the body up. So we have Tabata. We talk about super slow sprints, all kinds of great exercises. So that's the challenge is making sure you're stretching, but start working out. And some of the peptides I have in here are thymosin beta-4, recovery peptide.
I thought you'd throw in Mata C.
Well, Mata C is like an exercise mimetic. I have it later on in the book, but thymosin beta-4
that's your pill form, the closest thing to a pill form of exercise, right?
Right, but we want people to be exercising every day, not using the pill form,
I
And
know.
so thymosin beta 4 is the recovery peptide. But yes, MOD-SC is that's the closest thing to an exercise mimetic that we've seen.
Yeah, making like in that, I think the recovery portion is so key because if you, especially if you over exercise, or you do like really intense workouts, make sure you have a really good recovery regimen. Whether that's, there's a lot of different components, but thymosin beta 4 really like covers all your bases of recovery.
Yep.
Well, let's dive into chapter 6. We're running out of time here, so we'll jump into chapter 6, sleep, the passive hack to feel amazing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe what we can do is I guess we're going to make this a two-part. We're going to have to. So we can kind of wrap up with sleep. We'll put everyone to sleep. And then next week we will pick up where we left off so you guys can keep taking a deep dive. And hopefully by next week, some of you will have this book in front of you, and then you can ask specific questions about some of the concepts and studies, because we added new layers of depth that we didn't share in some of the hacks. And by the way, I guess hacks, for those of you who don't know, it's a health accelerator challenge. And so the brain loves challenge and it loves novelty. And so as I created these hacks, I was like, man, we need to just keep everyone's brain kind of excited and curious about their health. And so the overall experience is called our Health Accelerator course. And many of you are members in this community. And if you're not, just send us a message in the inbox, or email us at info@gowellness.com, and we'll get you involved in our group. But yeah, chapter 6, sleep. So Cade, you talked about your sleep last night, and you had a little hack to get yourself off of that grogginess of not getting great sleep. But I have the mindset of this one is you set high sleep standards so you can enjoy consistent energy levels. So your sleep standard needs to be higher. You need to just start being a better parent, is what I think, if your daughter's waking you up at night.
Yes.
All right, maybe not, but yeah. So sleep standards. What do we mean by sleep standards and having a sleep hygiene? And this is what we talk about. We reference a book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker that I'd recommend you guys read. But really, the sleep hygiene comes in the form of really taking the proper steps of getting away from your computer, making sure at night, an hour before bed, you're winding down. You try to keep the same sleep rhythms you can. Obviously, if you've got kids, if you've got toddlers, puppies, kittens, you're not going to sleep as well, but that's part of the sacrifice for really cool things in life. But at least if you start looking at your sleep more consciously, I think sleep is the most powerful hack that people can have. Because Cade, what's the difference when you get that great sleep versus the disrupted sleep?
Oh, just the way you feel, your energy levels, everything much better. The good news is got to sleep at a decent time, and I feel like I slept super hard up until I heard like our doorknob wiggling, and here comes Olive hopping in bed.
She's so cute. Luckily, she's so cute, huh?
Yeah, she's cute. Oh, I gotta share a picture of her Halloween costume. I just got that sent to me.
Let's
So
see it.
we can kind of wrap it up with this. Here, let me pull this. Let's see. I gotta share. You guys see that? She is Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Nice.
So you guys, if you're part of our Signal group, make sure you share your kids or grandkids. Send in some fun Halloween pictures.
Yeah.
It's a fun time of the year. Halloween it's fun with kids for sure. Oh yeah.
Dig it. Well, awesome. Well, we covered a lot today. So we'll just pick up next week and go through the other chapters. But you guys, once again, really appreciate everyone being part of the community. Our newest book, Never Stop Healing, it will be available very soon. And so I would love to make sure I get a copy of that in everyone's hand. And then if you guys have, someone you want to give it to as a gift, then we would really appreciate it. It allows this show to be produced. It allows us to keep serving you in new and meaningful ways. But the biggest thing it does when you share this with other people, it actually gives them a chance to change their thinking about their health, which is the best gift you can give somebody. So remember, your health comes above all else, and then everything in life gets better. So awesome. So thanks, you guys. Really appreciate you all.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. We'll be back same time, same place next week. And I like the comment. Plus, it gets Christmas taken care of. So yeah, looking for a really easy but great gift. Grab the book, because it'll be out very, very shortly next week. So we'll get all those links sent out to you, and make sure everyone has that. So we'll see you guys next week. We're going to be covering the second half of the book, and talking about some more fun stuff, and diving in there. So if you haven't already, check out thesmartmedicine.com. That is our sponsor of the show. Take a look at that. We have all your supplement needs there. So jump in. We appreciate you. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.